Well, hello there, room 31, Stanford. Look at me, I'm in your classroom, okay? So let's get to it. Who cares what I'm doing here? You don't need to know. We're going to read a story and you're going to listen. You're going to read along. And you're going to do a great job of comprehending, I believe it's called. Okay, here we go. How Ben Franklin Stole the Lightning by Rosalind Shanzer. It's true. The great Benjamin Franklin really did steal lightning right out of the sky. And then he set out to tame the beast. Tame the beast. Tame means to make it more peaceful, I guess. It goes to figure, though, because he was a man who could do just about anything. Let's move on. Okay, here we go. Well, here is a picture. He's saying early to bed and early to rise makes a man healthy, wealthy, and wise. Does that also do that for women and girls? Of course it does, but back in the day, they always made expressions only about males. But good thing we've changed that. Am I right? Okay, I'm going to get out of the way in just a moment. Reading up here, you're reading along with me. Here we go, room 31. Why Ben Franklin could swim faster, argue better, and write funnier stories than practically anyone in colonial America. Colonial America, that's way back in the day, like in the 1700s. He was a musician, a printer, a cartoonist, and a world traveler. What's more, he was a newspaper owner, a shopkeeper, a soldier, and a politician. Remember, politician, someone who's running for office or who's already in government. Your teacher told me that you studied that vocabulary word, so I know you know it. He even helped to write the Declaration of Independence. And you'll study that in fifth grade when the United States became independent from Great Britain. And the Constitution of the United States. So the Constitution are all the laws that tell us what our rights are. Okay, now I'm going to get out of the way over here. Read along with me. Ben was always coming up with newfangled ways. Newfangled just means new. Newfangled ways to help folks out too. He was the guy who started the first lending library in America. Lending is when you let somebody use something, borrow it, and you don't charge them money. His post office was the first to deliver mail straight to people's houses. He also wrote almanacs that gave hilarious advice about life and told people when to plant crops, whether there might be an eclipse, and when the tides would be high or low. Now, there's a bunch of words in there that we need to know. Whoa, look at me going back and forth. That's just like the tides. The tides go in and the tides go out. So the tides are the ocean waves, the eclipse that has to deal with the sun being hidden sometimes with the moon. There's different types of eclipses. We won't go into that now. And an almanac. If you wrote an almanac, you can use your inferential skills. If he wrote it, it must be some kind of writing like a book. So an almanac is a book. And he helped to start a hospital, a free academy. Academy is like a school. A fire department. The list just keeps going and going. Oh, I gotta get out of the way again. I think. Here I go. In colonial days, let's take a look at a picture. What's he got? His fire department. This was called a bucket brigade when people would be lined up in long lines and they would pass bucket from person to person. Here we go. Here we go. In colonial days, fire could break out at any time. To break out just means it could happen. So fire could happen at any time. And it was lightning that caused some of the worst fires. Whenever thunderstorms were brewing, they would ring the church bells for all they were worth, but it didn't do anybody a lick of good. So this story seems to have a lot of expressions. A lick of good just means it wasn't any good. And to ring church bells for all they were worth just means they tried really hard and they really did ring those church bells, but it didn't do any good. If, of course, after Ben stole the lightning, there weren't nearly as many fires for firefighters to put out. Now, why was that? I hear you ask. That was your funny voice. Now, why was that? I hear you ask. And how did he steal any lightning in the first place? Well, it's a long story, but before we get to the answer, here's a hint. One of the things Benjamin Franklin liked to do best was to make inventions. So if he's going to make an invention to steal lightning, I know lightning is electrical and it lights up the sky, so maybe the invention has something to do with that. Let us find out. Read along with me. You read the words as I read the words. I'm a doctor, by the way. I forgot to introduce myself. Why, Ben was a born inventor. He loved to swim fast, but he wanted to go even faster. So one day, when he was a mere lad of 11, that's about your age, isn't it, fourth graders? He got some wood and invented swim paddles for his hands and swim fins for his feet. Ben could go faster, all right, but the wood was pretty heavy and his wrists got plumb worn out. See, that's another expression, plumb. It just means very worn out. That's why, that's why his second invention was a better way to go fast. Here we are. He lay on his back, held on to a kite string, and let his kite pull him lickety split across a big pond. Now, this must have been a pretty darn big kite. You might want to remember later on that Ben always did like kites. That's a little bit of a hint for what's coming. Ben kept right on inventing better ways to do things for the rest of his life. Take books, for example. Ben read so many books that some of them sat on the shelves way up high near the ceiling. So he invented the library chair. If he pulled up the seat, out pops some stairs to help him reach any books on high shelves. And in case climbing stairs made him dizzy. Yeah, dizzy. That's right. He invented a long wooden arm that could grab his books too. So let's see. Do we see the long wooden arm? Yes, we do. And look at this. It kind of looks like a high chair, doesn't it? But it ends up having steps. Okay, that's all for today. We will read more later. It was nice to finally meet you, Room 31. I'll see you around. And I'm just here looking around your room and cleaning up. So maybe I'll do another recording another day. Bye bye.